fruity saison.
Very fruity saison.
It's for me, it does exactly what it says on the label. It's passion fruit all the way through.
Yeah, it's almost
From
like
the
a
nose.
There's almost St Kilda as well on the nose, which I can't quite place. It's almost like a winey.
Yeah,
type
a little
quality
bit of.
to it.
There's almost that kind of a hint of that banana-y, estery notes in the background.
But very much in the background.
Oh yeah, you've got to really
You've got to
search them out.
Yeah.
Um,
Because that passion fruit is definitely winning
oh, the passion fruit.
everything else.
That's lovely.
But it's not sweet or cloying either.
It's not sweet. I did find it had a little bit. I found it almost had a little bit of salt on the finish, like almost a salty.
Saline?
Yeah. Finish to it, like a really drying finish.
Be interesting to have this with the salty kiss beside it.
Yeah,
Because I think there's similar qualities about both of them, isn't there?
that's lovely. So yeah, Detra from Boundary Brewing in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And this is the passion fruit variant of this saison series.
Yeah. Now I have tried one of the other variants, but I did look at my untapped notes. Unfortunately, I haven't been very specific about which one it was, and no one had created a separate untapped check-in for each fruit that used, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. So you do have to search this one out a little bit on Untapped. But this is the Irish Beer Report for another month, and as I said, we're featuring Boundary Brewing from Northern Ireland, and we're grateful to the support from Ireland Craft Beers for the Irish Beer Report.
Yep.
Check out what they do at islandcraftbeers.com, and also to Honest Brew for getting the beers to us, and you can get these beers from Honest Brew at the moment, and you get 10% off of them as well by using the code SAVE10IRISH at the checkout, and that's 10 numerically. So you've done quite a bit about Boundary, don't you? 'Cause you've done a little bit with them before.
Yeah, our very good friends, the Irish Beer Snobs, Wayne and Janice, do a bit of an online thing every so often, so called the Irish Beer Chats, and I was invited to join them, I think at the back end of last year, and it was with Honest Brew and Boundary. And we did try a few of their beers, and we were talked through some of the background to the brewery, and one of the things I was definitely interested in was the artwork on the labels, which is very distinctive. The artwork on all of them are very, very nice, I think. And
They're kind of like watercoloured landscapes, aren't they?
And this is from the guy who runs Boundary, his good friend John Robertson, who actually I think did rent some space in the brewery as his studio.
Oh, okay.
So it's a bit of a quid pro quo. He gets some space, presumably gets a bit of beer as well sometimes, and he does the artwork for the labels. And I think each beer does have its own unique artwork as well. Mm-hmm. And I think it's quite stunning. Even
the saison Detra series, does it have a slightly different label for each one, or
I think that looks different to the one I saw before. Okay. If I remember correctly. I mean, there were another couple of things, but I mean, Boundary have been up and running. I think they're around about 2 years. I think by the time most people will have heard this show, they'll have had their second birthday as well, which 30th of April, and they're a cooperative.
I was just about to ask you about that, because it says on the label they're a cooperative brewery owned by its members. So what does that mean?
Well, I don't quite know the ins and outs, because the way I read it still felt like a crowdfunding type of investment.
Okay.
Because I know that Matt Lane from Beer Bods was one of the early investors for the cooperative, and that's where I first experienced my beers, was through one of their boxes, one of the early ones. So I don't quite know whether it's in the true cooperative sense there is like a not-for-profit, or whether there is some element of return. Without reading all the small print, I guess that I'm not sure I would have picked that up in some of the articles I've read and what we were discussing. But I do know that some of the beers I had previously were very nice. I mean, the Export Stout I had.
I think I've had that. I think we had that.
We had it at the Essex Bowl
Show
Show as well, when we had the mammoth session of picking beers, because it was our birthday one.
Yeah.
And you chose that one. You were at the back end of the list that day, but you still came out trump. So they're getting their beers over here.
You're never going to go too far wrong with an Imperial Stout at the end of a session, though.
No, that's true. But yeah, so they were getting their beers out here as well.
Yeah.
Which is good to see. Because personally, I can't think of many other breweries from Northern Ireland. I'm sure there are some.
Yeah.
I'm sure I stand to be corrected, but...
And I think we were saying that before we started recording that actually you are seeing their beers more readily available now, and the fact that we actually see them in the Ale House in Chelmsford is probably testament to just how widely available Boundary's beers are becoming.
Yeah, like I said, they've obviously got a few good friends when they're doing their collaborations for their birthday party, and everyone obviously wants them to do well. If I remember correctly as well, I should have looked this bit up. What's the name of the guy who started up the brewery? I should really look that up. But he also worked for a company called Brewbot.
Okay, now that's something I've heard of.
Yeah, and I don't know too much about them, but if I understand correctly, it was basically maybe it was a robot, but it was basically a way of brewing beer, but using the app on your phone to control the process. And so he, I think he spent a bit of time in Texas with that.
Okay.
And brewing recipes using it, but also getting to know other people while he was out there. And I think that's part of his inspiration for the beers he's making is from that part of the world.
So, I mean, it sounds like it's kind of somebody following a path that they've decided to take.
Yep.
And, they've taken this innovative measure of getting people in to crowdfund it in some sort of way. And, yeah, I mean, I've tried a few Boundary beers now, and I've enjoyed all of them. I mean, the saison has gone from my glass, and people that are regular listeners will know how averse I am to saisons, but I really enjoyed that, and it just kind of evaporated. I
really enjoyed it. I mean, to be honest, when you asked me what beer shall we start with, and you said, "Oh, let's start with a saison," because we never know what reaction we're going to get from you for starters. But it almost doesn't feel saison-y enough.
It didn't know. Yeah, I'd agree.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got loads of lovely qualities, and I'd say a bit colder on a nicer day because spring seems to have up and gone now.
Yeah.
I think you could probably have a few of those. What percentage did that one come at?
That was 4.9.
Okay, so not too heavy. I think you could do a few of those on an afternoon in nice weather. And I think you'd really enjoy, especially if it's cold. I reckon I'd
happily drink a few of those.
Because it wasn't that sweet or cloying.
No,
that passion fruit was definitely front and centre.
The balance was perfect. Yeah. for me in terms of that passion fruit flavour was there, but it wasn't overpowering. And like you say, it didn't take it that far that it became cloying.
No, which I imagine would be quite an easy thing to do with something like passion fruit
as well. It's quite.
If you have passion fruit juice, you definitely get it sometimes, don't you? That sweet cloying.
Absolutely. So the second beer that we've got from Boundary, and it does feel like somebody's trolling me because we got a saison and now we've got a New England IPA, which according to the label is murky, hazy, low bitter, and absolutely delicious.
# all the stuff Steve loves.
All of it, yeah. In the glass, it's certainly
not quite murky.
I wouldn't call it murky, no.
Definitely a definite haze that's going on here.
Not like the sort of murk that we've become accustomed to in the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Let's give this a go.
Oh, it's a nice nose.
Oh yeah, that's
all bags of fruit.
Yeah, it's like proper citrus fruits going on there, like orange, some mango, and a little bit of passion fruit again. Just.
It's definitely orange first of all when you taste it.
Oh yeah.
With slightly earthy quality as well.
It's like orange juice.
But again, it's not that real thick murk.
It's not.
I'm still getting a bit of dryness at the end as well.
Yeah, it's maybe it's not got the body that we've begun to associate with like properly murky beers. It's still got quite a light mouthfeel to it.
It's got a very light mouthfeel. What's this one coming in at?
I'm not sure. What's that?
6.
So, that doesn't
taste.
That doesn't drink 6.
No.
At all.
Follow a few passion fruit, a few of these in the afternoon.
That's
might start to notice it.
Dangerous.
That's
session.
a dangerous 6%.
Right there.
But found the name Boundary Brewing Cooperative brewer and co-founder is Matthew Dick. So apologies, Matthew, for not mentioning your name earlier. That was my fault. I did say I would do further up my research on this, as I've spoken to you before.
But good beers though. And
Well,
like we're saying, they seem to be doing all the right things.
I think they're doing all the right things, and again, Northern Ireland, if it's anything like the Republic of Ireland, craft brewing has had a struggle to really take off over there because the pubs are so tied to the likes of Diageo, Heineken, and it must be so incredibly difficult to get your beers out there. That you've got the whole rules about bars and tap rooms being open and things like this. So, to start getting your beers over here in varying degree of places as well isn't bad going at all.
I wonder if distribution is easier for them because Northern Ireland is part of the UK still, isn't it?
Yeah.
So therefore, for all intents and purposes, they should be using similar sort of distribution networks with similar sorts of costs.
It should
because
be.
you're not sending
it abroad.
internationally.
No,
are you?
No, that could definitely have a part to play. I mean, the fact that perhaps they've stolen a bit of a march on other breweries, startups in Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah.
But underpinning all of that, you still got a decent beer.
It is. I mean, and
I think I've tasted about 6 of them now. With the ones I've tasted before, the ones in the Irish Brewery Chats, and the ones now, and I'm seriously impressed with these. I would seek out other ones if I saw them on the shelf.
I'd like to give them a go. I'd like to see them on keg, and I'd like to give them a go on kind of a draft dispense.
Yes, yeah, mine experience is bottle.
Yeah.
So
same here.
Based on that, the one we're drinking now, the New England IPA, and the Export Stout, I'd be especially keen to try those on keg.
Yeah,
definitely.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I've tried their standard IPA as well, which I think again is a bottle that they had in the Ale House. I was quite keen to try. Actually, I'm sure the Ale House have had them on draft.
Have they?
Pretty sure.
Well, they're getting some good stuff in there, but yeah,
but they are indeed. Yeah.
So, I'm very impressed with these. So if anyone, by the time you've listened to this, if anyone's been to their second birthday party, feel free to let us know what it was like.
Absolutely.
Tell us what we missed.
Yeah. And like I said at the start of the show, if you do want to give these beers a try, hit up Honest Brew, honestbrew.co.uk, search out Boundary, and then use the code to get 10% off, and you can give the Boundary beers a try as well. Make sure you fill your basket with all of the Boundary beers.
All the Boundary beers
that they've got on offer, because like I say, if these, or like we both said, if these two are anything to go by, you are going to have a very tasty time.
I would say so, definitely.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on the Forever Ago, which is the New England IPA?
How did you say it?
Forever Ago.
Forever Ago.
That's the name of it. It's
quite poetic, isn't it?
It is.
Forever Ago.
Yeah. I mean, that aroma isn't easing up.
No, because a lot of the time, the aroma does start to come away sometimes, doesn't it? But it hasn't on this at all. Again, the decision we took at the start of the show, perhaps to split bottles, was a good one, because I reckon we could have done both these bottles.
Easily.
Both of these bottles would have gone. So I would say testament to the skill of the brewing. Both very tasty beers, but both very drinkable beers as well.
Absolutely.
With bags going on in both of them.
Yeah. This one, maybe, now it's been in the glass a little bit longer, bit more bitterness coming through at the end.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more of the, what I'd say were the drier kind of tropical citrus fruits, a little bit of pineapple and grapefruit coming through more.
Where you start to get that pithy almost quality to it.
But still incredibly drinkable.
Very drinkable. I'm quite happy with the bit of dryness increasing as well, the dryness and the bitterness increasing.
Yeah. Well, more great beers from Ireland for us to enjoy and for to share with others.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.